Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kende Olorunfemi. I teach economics at Nigerian Tulip International Colleges. This afternoon, we want to review UTME 2016 economics question from number 26 to number 50. Follow me as we do this together. Now let's start with question 26. From the table above, determine the average product of the fifth unit of capital. We have the fifth unit of capital and we have the total product. Now average product is total product divided by quantity. In this case, that's 353 divided by 5. 5 in 35, it gives us 7. Then we have 0. We bring 0 to 30 to make it 6. So our final answer is 70.6. That's our average product. Now let's move to question 27. The problem of what to produce is determined by dash. The problem of what to produce in any economic system, be it capitalist or socialist economic system, is determined by the consumption pattern. That is, what do consumers need in the economy? Let's take question 28. The main function of NNPC is to dash. NNPC means Nigerian National Petroleum Commission. The major function is to oversee the development of the oil sector. Now let's take question 29. A major feature of an underdeveloped economy is dash. Is it low rates of population growth, excess capacity utilization, low level of unemployment, or low level of standard of living? The answer is low level of standard of living. The standard of living in underdeveloped countries is very low. They don't have access to quality goods and services. Now let's take question 30. A tax on land will ultimately, is it partly on the agents and users, partly on users and owners, entirely on owners, entirely on users? The tax burden on land will entirely fall on the owners. The owners of land are the ones to bear the burden of the tax. Now, the deregulation of the petroleum industry in Nigeria will bring about, the regulation talks about reduction of government participation in the petroleum sector. The price will be majorly determined by the forces of demand and supply. Now, in that case, government will be there to regulate the activities in such a sector. And when that happens, that will bring about efficiency in pricing and distribution of products. Now, let's go to question 32. One of the ways of correcting balance of payment deficit. Balance of payment deficit occurs when the import is greater than export. When the receipt a country gets from import is greater than export. Now, the way to correct that is to devalue a country's currency. Let's take question 33. A nation's net export is negative when dash. Now, when you look at this diagram, you can see the import on this side and the export on this side. Now, what it means is that if you look at it very well, the import is carrying a lot of load, which will determine the direction of export. In that case, when a country has a net export, the import is greater than export. Import is the M, while export is X. That will take us to answer, which is D. Imports exceed export. Let's move to question 34. Given the demand function, QD is 30 minus 3P and QS is 9P minus 15. Determine the equilibrium price. What happens at equilibrium? At equilibrium, quantity demanded equals to quantity supplied. Quantity demanded is 30 minus 3P equals to quantity supplied 9P minus 15. When you collect the like terms, 9P plus 3P equals to 30 plus 15. 9P plus 3P will give us 12P. 30 plus 15 will give us 45. P equals to 45 divided by 12. That will give us 12 in 45 is 3. It will remain 9. Eventually, our answer will be 3.75 naira, which is this. Now, let's take the next question, which is number 35. The problem of economic development in Nigeria is that of dash. Yes, the answer is inadequate infrastructure. The infrastructures are required to power the economic development. The infrastructures are not adequate. It's not that we don't have them. That's option D. The next question, question 36. The combination of two commodities that yield the same level of satisfaction is illustrated by dash. Now, in this case, we have two commodities. We have commodity X and commodity Y. Commodity X, we have biscuits, and we have the other commodity, which is banana. Now, you can see the different combination. Combination A, we have 1 for biscuit, 12 for banana. Now, at each combination, the consumer gets satisfaction. But no matter, regardless of the combination that the quantity that the consumer consumes. Now, when you transfer this to a graph, it will give us this, which is indifference curve. You can see it's moving like this. The answer is D. Indifference curve is what shows combination of two commodities that can give a consumer the same level of satisfaction. Now, let's move to question 37. The demand for inferior goods is inversely related to change in dash. Now, for a normal good, the higher the income, the higher will be the demand. The lower the income, the lower will be the quantity demanded. But for an inferior good is a good that the consumer feels inferior to consume it because his income has increased. Now, if the income increases, the consumer will consume less of that commodity. While when the income reduces, that's what the consumer will increase his or her demand for the commodity. So the answer is income, A. Let's take question 38. The minimum number of shareholders for partnership. From this picture, you can see two individuals involved trying to come together to do business, to achieve a common goal. In business, two people can decide to come together to achieve a common goal in their business. The answer is 2. Now let's take the next question, 39. When diminishing returns set in, the total variable cost begins to rise at a decreasing rate. Diminishing return talks about when you apply a variable factor, land, a variable factor, labor, to a fixed factor. At first, the total product will increase, but to get to a point that as you apply more of the variable factor, the total product you get will start diminishing, and it will later get to 0 and become negative. The next, from the table above, the marginal product of the 7th unit of output is dash. Marginal product is change in total product divided by change in quantity. Now we can expand it further to be total product 7, that's the 7th unit of capital, minus the previous total product 6 over quantity 7 minus quantity 6. In that case, total product 7 will be 563 minus 483 divided by 7 minus 6. Now, when you divide out, 3 minus 3 will be 0, 60 minus 8 will be 8, that will be 80 over 1. Our final answer will be 80 kilogram, which is option A. Now, question 41. Given these numbers 32, 18, 24, 17, 16, 32, 28, 68, 71, and 15, what is the range? The first thing to do is to arrange the numbers in ascending order from the lowest, which is 15, to the highest, 71. Now, range talks about the difference between the highest number, the maximum number, 71 in this case, and the minimum number, which is 15. That's 71 minus 15. That will give us 56. That's option C. Question 42 now. We have from the diagram above, the consumer is at equilibrium when Now you can see we have two goods here, good Y and X. We have the indifference curve, the first indifference curve, the second indifference curve, and the third indifference curve. Now this line coming down here, this straight line, is a budget line. Now the consumer will be at equilibrium at the point where the budget line intersects with the indifference curve. And it is at this point, point M. You can see the meeting point of the budget line and the third indifference curve. So the consumer will be at equilibrium at point M. Let's take question 43. If P equals to 1/2 bracket QS plus 30, what is the quantity supplied when the price is 30? Now we have this solved there. 18 equals to 1/2 QS plus 30. When you cross multiply, you eventually get QS is 30 minus 9, which will give us 21. Our final answer will be 21, option B. All right, let's take question 44 now. When a consumer is at equilibrium, the marginal rate of substitution X and Y is equal to the dash. Now you can see the consumer's marginal rate of substitution illustrated with M, marginal utility of X or marginal utility of Y equals to the price of X over price of Y. So for the consumer to be at equilibrium, the marginal rate of substitution, which is this, must be equal to the price ratio of the two commodities. And that's option C. Now let's take question 45. One of the major factors militating against industrialization in Nigeria is dash. Is it low level of foreign investment, frequent breakdown of equipment, inadequacy of infrastructural facilities, or government participation? The major problem is the inadequacy of infrastructural facilities. Infrastructural facilities like communication network, good road network, and some other infrastructures are not inadequate. Question 46. One of the factors that is considered in the location of a cement industry is nearness to dash, is nearness to the mineral deposit. That is where you can get, for in this case, limestone, which is used to produce cement. So it's nearness to the source of raw materials, which is option B. Let's take question 47. A problem facing the development of the Nigerian petroleum industry is dash. We have persistent gas flaring, instability in the demand for the product, dominance of multinationals, declining oil reserves. The major problem is the dominance of multinational companies. That's why the petroleum industry is not developing in Nigeria. That's a major problem. We have question 48. At full employment, a contractionary monetary policy will lead to a dash. Now, when it comes to monetary policy, government through the central bank of that particular country will either increase the supply of money or reduce the supply of money. That is, we want to control the flow of money in circulation. Now, in this case, the contractionary monetary policy has to do with reducing the circulation, the supply of money in circulation. Now, when that happens, the aggregate demand will reduce, which will lead to fall in expenditure, and that will lead to a fall in the level of inflation. The price of goods and services will fall down. Now, question 49. A country where the available population is unable to guarantee efficient utilization of available resources is experiencing dash. Now, when you look at this scale, we have this as the population, and we have the resources. Now, in this case, you can see that the resources carries more weight than the population, which means in this country, the population of the country is unable, is small when compared to resources. And that's the case of a country experiencing underpopulation, which is option A. Now, question 50. One of the causes of instability in farmers' income is dash. We have high level of illiteracy, unfriendly land tenure, unfavorable weather condition, poor management of extension services. One of the causes of the instability is unfavorable weather condition. The weather condition is not favorable. Sometimes weather condition is not predictable. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.